Kamie,
Hey.
welcome to Real Pod, finally.
Finally.
I have been wanting you on the show for forever.
Victoria, why is your voice just like literally soothing my ears right now? Just listening to you.
Really?
Yes. You should do like meditations.
Oh, that's so funny you say that. I think my own voice is like annoying.
Oh,
sometimes.
yeah. I can't even listen to my own podcast sometimes because I'm like, oh.
Really? I think you're such a great talker because I love Relationsh, and I just think you're funny and there's never a dull moment.
Thank you.
You're a natural.
I feel the same way about you.
Hence why she's a host on network television. The other thing too, though, not me just like diving into all these compliments that you deserve, is you're so like authentic, even like on Catfish and everything that you do. You're never like, I just feel like you're making expressions, you're saying things, like there's no filter. You're being yourself.
I'm being myself all the time.
Which is powerful.
All the time. But even when I came in here, I think you asked me, how am I doing?
Yeah, well, I said she's an SI swimsuit model.
Yeah. Oh, I said I don't feel like it right now. I just got off birth control for the first time in 18 years.
Damn.
And let me tell you something. Like, I'm happy about it. I'm not trying to get pregnant right now, but like talking about freezing my eggs, just like, I'm just trying to learn more about my body naturally, which like, whoa, I say that with gel nails and eye full of lashes and a full weave. Yes, I am trying to learn more about my inner body naturally.
But not the external.
Not the
Fuck
external.
that.
Fuck that shit. Okay, I'm trying to make a Dysport appointment because I see my wrinkles are coming in a little bit. This is called Real Pod at the end of the day, so I'm allowed to say everything that I want to say.
I love that.
When I got it, I was so happy. I was so grateful. I was just like, thank you, body, for like doing what I wanted you to do. And this time around, I'm like, bitch, what is this? What is this? Because last time I had gratitude, this time I'm like angry.
You're like, I had another week.
No, I'm like, hello, I haven't even stocked up my fridge for this right now.
Yeah.
So right now I'm like full on raging, riding the crimson tide.
Yeah.
And I want to die.
So we're currently in flow.
Oh, we're like yoga master flow right now.
We're flowing.
Yes.
Okay, did you know I have PCOS?
No, I didn't know
I was
that.
on birth control for like 10 years and I went off of it similar. I was like, can I even get a period? Like,
Yes.
What is going on?
Yeah.
Flashback to the doctor when I was 13 that said take the pill, and it was
Exactly.
just like, okay.
Exactly.
So mine took a while. I had to go on progesterone to induce it, but now it comes naturally. But it's not like a heavy, beautiful 7-day flow.
Yeah, no.
We've got issues.
No. There's definitely honestly, I think the first one tricked me a little bit because I was like, oh, like this isn't even as bad. And truthfully, like I went gluten-free 9 months ago now, and it's changed everything about my body. And I really felt like it made my cramps less. But I think there's a lot of shit going on right now, and it just, my body is like not having it.
I feel like I've also been really tired, and I get 8 hours of sleep and I wake up thinking I could sleep 3 more.
You get 8 hours of sleep.
Yeah. Sleep is really important.
That's why you're so happy and kind. It's like the opposite of me. I checked my Oura ring literally this morning because I was like, why do I feel like shit? Oh, I got 5.5 hours of sleep.
I literally couldn't. Like, I can't. But I go to bed at like 10:30, 11, and then my alarm goes off at 7. I can't do math.
When do you get off your phone?
That was a New Year's resolution that I have stuck to. No phone in the bedroom. It's game changing for my mental health.
I'm gagged.
And I'll say the big thing for me is no consuming social media, like in my bed. And so that doesn't mean like I can't watch Netflix on my phone and watch a show, but it was so bad. Like I would go to bed scrolling the lives of other people, taking it in, feeling like a piece of shit. I'd wake up, I'd answer emails. I'd work my first hour in my bed, wake up like, oh, here we go again. I think it was Simon Sinek said, when you open your phone first thing in the morning, you choose defense. You choose defense for the day. You are reacting to the messages, the texts, the emails, and you're playing defense. When you wake up at your pace, you take a breath, you brush your teeth, you have some deep breaths, maybe you meditate, you have your breakfast. For me, I shake my AG1, I have a power bar, and then I sit down at my computer and I'm like, here we go, I'm on offense. And it's a different day.
Damn. You're a real athlete. See, I doom scroll till about 2 a.m. and then I allow my eyes to shut as I'm doom scrolling. And then I wake up like 15 minutes later, like, oh shit, my phone is still on. Like I'm still watching TikToks. I'm still watching Nara Smith make bread from scratch and cereal. And then I put my phone to the side and set my alarm. And then next thing I know, it's lights up. It's time to go. It's time to rock and
Actually,
roll.
when I was on Relationship, we were talking about screen time, and I think you asked me mine, and I said it's embarrassing, and then you were like, "No, mine is never ending."
God, yeah, we did talk about this. See, I haven't changed a bit.
That's okay. I've only changed January. I've only had 3 months of change, so we'll see.
Okay.
But something I do want to ask you. So, Sports Illustrated, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
It's incredible, and you so deserve it. And that is something that I could imagine that, at least for me, like growing up with body insecurities and body image issues, to get the opportunity and to be a part of that, it's almost like, oh my God, I'm getting that like societal yes, like I'm beautiful. And I could imagine internalizing that and being like, wait, but I still maybe feel weird about this part of my body, or I still maybe have a struggle. But wait, I have this title that when I looked at other people who had it, it to me meant they're perfect.
Yeah.
Do you follow that? How are you internalizing it? And how has it affected your self-image?
I think coming from being in a pageant space already, I already understand. It's like riding a bike. Like I already understand what that comes with when people hear beauty queen, when people hear Miss Teen USA, when people hear Sports Illustrated swimsuit model, they have an idea in their head of what that looks like. And that may or may not be me. I don't really give a shit. Like, it is me. It is me. And I have the power to be able to reclaim it and rebrand it and make it look like whatever I want it to look like. I think the beauty, though, and the difference is when I was competing for Miss Teen USA, I had to fit a structure, a mold that was already built because there was no dismantling of that. Like, there was nothing that I could do to get the image out of people's minds that at the time, which I haven't tapped into the pageant scene in a really long time, thank God. But at the time, you had to be a size 0 to 2 max. Like you had to get down. And I'm not that naturally. I think at the time I was like a 6, maybe a 4 to 6. I don't know. In my teenage brain, I probably thought I was like some other size, like a way bigger size, because your brains and your bodies are not really connected at that time, you know, at all, if they ever do connect. I think it's a little bit better into adulthood. But when you're a teenager, you have this idea in your mind of what your body looks like. And I knew that I needed to look like what they needed me to look like because I had to fit a product. Fast forward, Sports Illustrated swimsuit is the complete opposite of that. They literally are like, come as you are. They celebrate you while you're shooting. Like, it doesn't matter if you're pregnant. It doesn't matter what size you are. You will feel beautiful no matter what. Like, they are going to drill that into you. Like, you're going to feel gorgeous. And it's just like the excitement around it. It's so different than anything that I've ever done. And I'm so, so grateful for that experience because there are very few places in the industry that I'm in where you can just come in as you are and like people are going to celebrate that and not try to take away from it or dim it down. It's just very much celebratory. Like it's unreal. It's unreal.
I love everything that they're up to. And it's crazy to be like, I have a lot of friends. I have a good amount of friends that have been in the magazine and still are. And it's so exciting. And I completely love the mission. And I think they're doing such a beautiful job. And I was so hyped to see that you're in it and are continuing to be in it. Yeah. So congrats on that.
Thank you.
I did not know a lot of your backstory into how you even got into the career you're doing now. Mm-hmm. You did pageants. Yeah. How did it go from pageants to content creator, podcast host, TV host?
Yeah. I think a lot of people don't actually know that I was Miss Teen USA. And I like to keep it.
Oh, she was Miss Teen USA.
Yeah.
We didn't just compete. We won.
I won. Yeah.
Kamie.
It was my first pageant. Well, technically my second.
It was your first pageant?
Technically my second. So you have to win, well, depending on where you live. So if you're in California, you have to win like Miss Los Angeles, and then you go to Miss California USA, and then you go to Miss USA, and then you go to Miss Universe. For me, I'm from Maryland, and we only have a state pageant, state and then national. So I won Miss Maryland Teen USA, and then I went on to Miss Teen USA and ended up winning that. There's no pageant after that for teens. At least not in this arena, because there's different pageant systems. But in the Miss Universe system, it's just Miss Teen USA. And that was my first experience ever even being in that world. I didn't know anything about that. Like, I didn't even watch pageants growing up, so I didn't know anything about it. I had to learn, and I trained for it like you would train for anything else. And it was a lot. It was an experience for sure. I learned a lot of things, some things that I keep, some things that I left behind. Thankfully, therapy helps. But it was really beneficial in the fact that when I won, I got a lot of experience in front of the camera that I never had before, because prior to that, I was ready to become a dermatologist. Like, that was what I wanted to do with my life. And at the time, that's what I thought I wanted to do with my life. But I think what I really wanted was to just make people feel good. And I'm still doing that. It's just in a completely different way, obviously. I'm not a doctor. Although I do give some advice as if I am. Definitely not. But yeah, it showed me that I could be good at something else that wasn't strictly academic and, you know, traditional. It's something a little bit more non-traditional. And I just had so much fun with it. And then when I gave up my title, I still was pursuing the doctor thing. I went to the University of Alabama and I was pre-med there. And I got there and it was just not vibing with me. I was just like, why do I not feel like I want to be a doctor anymore? Like, this is just, I don't know what it is. And I dropped all of my sciences that I needed. And I signed up for a communications class the same day and went to that class, and my mind was literally like blown wide open. I was just like, this is what I want to do. And then I had to explain that to my parents, and they were very supportive, thankfully, but I was devastated because I was like, I'm ruining the family. Like, I'm not going to be the doctor in the family.
Well, and it's hard because you've probably verbally had said that to everyone, and they always knew Kamie is so sure of her plan. She's so sure of her plan.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have that. Of like, I've told everyone, I've told my parents, and then they feel so stuck that they unfortunately feel too afraid to actually listen to their heart.
Yeah. No, I am all about the power of the pivot. Like, change it.
Power of the pivot.
Change it up. Change it up. If it's not working, switch it up.
I
like,
love that.
Why should you be stuck forever in something that you don't feel is right for you? And like, who are you doing it for? Who are you doing it for? I am all about changing your mind. And I teach that to my sisters. I have 5 sisters. And whenever they have like something new that they want to pursue, or, you know, they change their mind, I'm like, change your mind. Change your mind about your boyfriend. Change your mind about your nail color. Change your mind about your hair. Change your mind about your life choices, your career. Like, why not? As long as it's positive.
Yeah.
Change it in a good way. Don't do the other shit.
I love that. Clearly, you're incredibly ambitious. That ambition and drive has led you to be very successful.
Thanks,
What
girl.
is your relationship like with success?
Ooh, now that's a good question. I come from a very, very accomplished, competitive family, like very much so. And I come from 2 parents who, you know, my dad comes from nothing. He's from Detroit. He's had to like scrape his way to the top, and he's very successful. My mom comes from Jamaica, so I have like that first generation, you know, firstborn daughter thing going. So it's like a lot. Every time I see TikToks about firstborn daughters, I'm like, that tracks. That's me. And then I have these 5 women who are looking up to me, and you know, the 2 youngest ones are twins. They're 17 years old, and like, I've always had that pressure to succeed. And you know, your sisters are watching you. You have to make sure that like you're making the right decisions. Have I always made the right decisions? They were right for me. But like, you know, of course there are times and moments when I have a misstep, and I'm going to still at 31 years old. But I think now my relationship with success is a little bit less of, I have to get this. Like, if I don't have this, if I don't accomplish this, if I'm not Forbes 30 under 30, like, what does that mean for me? Like, people are going to look at me differently if I don't have these accomplishments. Now I'm so much more relaxed in who I am, in what my goals are, and like what my mission is in life. The little things, I can't say that they don't bother me anymore, like not having them, but like, I'm not going to have Forbes 30 under 30. That was something that I was devastated when I didn't get that. And I applied. I had people apply for me. Like, I wanted that. And when it didn't happen, I was like, I'm ruined. I can't put this in my Instagram bio. Like, it's done. Forget it all. Mm-hmm. Pack it up. It's over. Mm-hmm. And once I came to terms with that, I literally got Sports Illustrated swimsuit like a week, 2 weeks later. Like the things that are meant for me will always find me. And if it's not meant for me, so be it. So that's where I'm at with success now. It's like whatever I'm supposed to accomplish, whatever I'm supposed to have, things or accomplishments or, you know, notches on my belt, like they're going to find me. They're never going to miss me. So I don't even have to worry about it because it's already done. So that's where I'm at, I think, with success. Of course, there are still things that I want to do.
Right.
But I am very firm and comfortable and confident in the fact that they will come if they're supposed to. And if they are not, then something else is going to come and it'll be much greater.
Yeah. There's so much irony in like wanting a goal so badly. And then even the ones we do get, how short-lived the joy is of that.
Yeah.
And the other day I was just sitting on my couch and like sometimes I'll have these moments where I really want to process like what's happening. Like I was on a Zoom call with the student athlete ambassadors for my nonprofit, The Hidden Opponent. And, you know, there's like about 100 on the Zoom and they're all in their shirts at their different schools. And I'm trying to think like, this is the community, like this, it came to life. Like we're all here. Like how awesome is this? But then the Zoom ends and like 10 minutes later, it's like I'm back on my phone or there's a project in motion and I'm like, but there's the next thing. And so I'm so torn between I need to slow down and celebrate the wins.
Yeah.
And I need to make a 10-page spreadsheet on how I can do more because I'm not doing enough.
Yes. Yes. Do you have Virgo in your chart?
I don't know.
Sounds like I'm a rising Virgo. And for those listening, if you know anything about Virgos, it's very much like planner, like, you know, has their shit together or at least likes to appear like they do. And I'm definitely like that too, where I'm always like thinking ahead. My therapist calls it forecasting. I like to think of it as forward thinking. She's like, you know, you're forecasting
productivity.
Like, exactly, productivity. I like to think of it as like what I want to happen, like what I want to achieve. And I don't think that there's anything necessarily wrong with it, but I do know that when I was Miss Teen USA, like there are things about that experience that I could not tell you because I don't remember, because I was so busy focusing on, I'm going to be a doctor. I need to get to school. I need to start taking all my prerequisites because, you know, you want to be able to, I want to graduate on time, if not early. Like that was where my mind was at. And it's kind of a bummer because it's like, okay, there were so many things that like I'll talk to like my Miss USA about, Rima, and she'll be like, oh my God, remember when we did it? And I'm like, no, I don't remember. And I wish that I could hold on to some of those memories. But when I booked Catfish full time, I made it a point. I was like, I am going to remember this. This is my big break. This is everything that I've worked. I worked for 7 years to book something permanent on TV. And that was it. And I was like, I'm going to take the whole year and not think about anything else. I'm just going to do this. Little did I know COVID was going to happen and I was going to have like two and a half years to really like sit in it and like think about it. And it was great because I really got to feel what I was doing. Like I actually felt like I was in it, not like I was hovering over myself doing something. And I feel like it's paid off.
The hovering. Mm-hmm. I relate.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like, because I'm not depressed. I know what it's like to feel depressed and be like numb. That was years ago and I'm not there. But it is really hard for me to internalize the success or to process. And even my friends will be like, wait, you're going on the Drew Barrymore show? You didn't tell me. What? Like, and I'm just like, yeah, like, I don't know. Like, and I would love to be like, I'm just really humble. It's not even that.
Yeah.
It's just like, I would rather listen to air on the phone of you breathing or you telling me about your day than like, I don't know what it is. Like, it's like a block. And I want to say it's this pessimistic, like existential, like, I know there's so much more to life.
Yeah.
But that almost to me reads like dark and hopeless, and I don't feel that way. So I don't know. Do you ever feel like you can't really like fully soak in and process like, I mean, like where your life is at?
All the time.
Okay,
all
good.
the time.
I'm not going
No,
crazy.
you're not all the time. I really had to work with my therapist on it. So even when it comes to plans and like future and what do I want to do and, you know, the things that I want to accomplish, it's like, okay, everything that I do from now on has to be better than what I did. Or it's like, who cares? you know, that feeling definitely creeps in a lot, a lot. All the while being like, what is success? It's whatever you want it to be. It's whatever you make it. It's whatever I want. Like, you know, and I'm grateful, I'm happy, but like at the same time, you're always moving on to the next thing.
I love how much you connect answers and eye-opening experiences back to therapy, because I am the same way. I love going. I even had something happen this week and I'm like, can't freaking wait for my next session.
Yes.
What led you in the first place to go?
It was during the pandemic. I was just in a very dark headspace. Like I think the last time I experienced like mild depression was when I was a kid. My biological father left when I was 5, and like there was a lot to process there, but I didn't have an outlet, and like my parents weren't thinking like therapy would be great. It was just like, you know, go outside. It was just like different, you know? And I internalized a lot. And so but I was too young to really understand. And I think at the time too, like I was born in the 90s, like therapy, these topics are still very fresh as far as being like publicized and things that we're comfortable with talking about out loud. And I, you know, was in a relationship that was not it was not right. And I didn't really understand that. I just knew that I felt badly when I was with this person. And then, pandemic things like everybody else, it was just like, what is even happening to the world? And I'm an empath by nature. So just like everything was just, it felt like the world was pouring down on me. Plus I had COVID. And I was like one of the first people, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna die. Like it was very, like it was terrifying. I don't think we've really processed how terrifying the pandemic still is, because it's still happening. We're still in it. But I was like, I need to process things, like past things, present things, everything. I just wanted to be better. And I got a trainer because I was like, I need to put this energy somewhere physically. So I started doing that, and that was the best decision I could have ever made. And it wasn't as scary as I thought it was going to be. I thought like we were going to have to sit there and I was going to have to like unload all my childhood trauma. And the thing was, I used to tell everybody that therapy was great and everybody should go to therapy. Meanwhile, I was not in therapy. Yeah. Which I'm like, what? Like, who am I to sit on this high horse and tell everybody? But now that I've actually done it, I tell everyone. Like, it's the best. It's like a gift that you give yourself at the end of the week. I go every week. How often do you go?
Every other week now.
I think it's like the best. Don't you feel like, wow, like I'm really pouring into myself in this moment?
Oh my gosh, totally. Like I love going there physically in person.
I've never met my therapist in person.
What?
I know.
It's really cool to be like in the space, like on the couch or the chair, and be like, the door is shut and like, we're just here to talk.
Wow.
But I can imagine if you started virtually, how you don't, like there's no difference for you because you haven't done the in-person, but.
I'm convinced I'm going to run into my therapist at like Trader Joe's one day, and we're both going to be like, ugh.
But the benefit is like, you love your therapist, which is great.
Yeah.
Something though that like I feel like in society I see is like disproportionate to reality is the portrayal of like the perfect family and like the perfect parents. And I actually have a lot of friends who have, you know, either gotten to a certain age and been told your dad is not your biological dad, or who have never met their dad. And I think it obviously is sensitive and not a lot of people talk about it. How open have you been with kind of sharing that side of you? And I don't know if you ended up developing a relationship with your biological dad or didn't ever.
Girl. No. Well, you know what's crazy? I bring it up so casually, like I'm like, oh yeah, and then I got oat milk latte, matcha, blah, blah, blah. Like I'm just like, boop. But it has impacted my life in a big way. But at the same time, it's not something that I think about regularly. My dad, who raised me, married my mom they met when I was 2. They got married when I was like 5. And he's my dad, and he's, you know, the dad to my sisters, and that's just what it is. We don't call each other like half sisters, stepsisters. We're a family, we're sisters, that's it. Blended families are so common too. I feel like people just like, we just, you know, we don't even talk about it. But there were times in my life for sure when it affected me in different ways, where it kind of felt like a secret because we didn't talk about it. But it wasn't it wasn't that we didn't talk about it because we couldn't talk about it. It was just we didn't talk about it because it was like nobody really cared to talk about it. So I haven't really like done a deep dive publicly about it so much. I did do this. I had a show on BET when I was 22-ish. It was like a reality show about me and my friends. And I talked about it there and like the experience of being 5 and, you know, thinking that it was visitation for him, for my biological father. And he was supposed to come pick me up and like never came on Labor Day. And now even still, like when Labor Day comes around, I'm like, oh God, okay. Here we go, you know, but it's kind of just like a fading thought. It like pops in and then pops out and then that's it, which is the benefit of therapy. And just like, I think understanding life differently now. I think like when you get older, you kind of just see your parents and like elders in your life as just like people who make decisions and you're just like, oh, that's the decision you made. Cool. And then you just kind of like move accordingly. But yeah, it's not really something like sometimes when I tell people, they feel really bad for me and I'm like, I don't even think about it. But that was the last time I saw him was when I was 5. And then I didn't talk to him again until I was 16 and haven't talked to him since then.
It's interesting, like what you're doing with Catfish. You're obviously not like reuniting loved ones, but you are like tracking down people out there in the world and then like connecting them with someone that they have a connection with. Like, has that like triggered anything or made you think about your experience?
I think more than Catfish, I did my ancestry.com
oh, you did?
a little while ago. And people, it was like, you know, it shows you like people you may be related to. And it's like, this person's your first cousin. I'm like, I don't even know who that is. I know my cousins. And this is like, I don't even know this person. I think when it comes to like, you know, knowing your background or like even I was talking to someone earlier about like they have a similar family situation and like they're dealing with some health things and they want to know what their health history is like from their family. And like, I don't know mine on his side. I don't know anything. I don't know. I think he's a Leo.
I love how into the signs you are.
I'm very,
I need
very
to give
into
you
the signs.
my info after so you can
Didn't
diagnose
you tell
me.
Are you a water sign?
I'm a Taurus, April 30th.
Taurus.
But I don't know my rising.
That's
and,
that's the Scorpio sister sign.
Oh!
Yeah.
No wonder.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I love astrology. I just think like when you really think about it and you start piecing together like even friends that you had in middle school and high school, it's all there's like a lot of similarities. But yeah, he's not somebody that I want in my life. And I also know people who I think this actually scarred me for life was that I had a friend whose mom had a similar situation. She was raised by someone else and he like was an amazing dad and her biological father left when she was a kid, and when she grew up and got married on her wedding day, she had her biological father walk her down the aisle instead of the dad who raised her. And you know, personal choices, I think she regretted it, but I just was like, I couldn't imagine giving somebody that kind of power and accessibility to me that didn't capitalize off of that time when they had the opportunity. Like, I'm never even going to give you the chance. And I think literally that story, I think, has just propelled me to be like, nope.
Yeah.
Like, just not interested.
Family is so unique because of the, you know, pressure of like, this is your blood and this is your blah, blah, blah. And like, I get that fed to me because we're a Greek family. But then you grow up and you're like, but these things I don't rock with and this I don't want to be around.
I'm
and like,
all for cutting off your family. I'm so pro cut off your family. I don't care who it is. Your grandma is an asshole, cut her off. You don't need her.
Hot take.
Like, you don't need her. And I come from, you know, a West Indian family where my mom is like, family is everything. Like, I wasn't even allowed to have play dates with my friends if my sisters and I were having a fight. Like, her main thing, which I'm also going to be implementing this with my future children, was if you can't be friends with who's in this house, you don't get to have friends outside of the house. And it sounds intense, but like, those fights got rectified very, very quickly.
oh, so you're going to teach that to your kids, you're saying?
1000%.
Wait, but how does that work with big fan of cut off the family?
Well, you can cut them off later, but like, if you're fighting over like who stole my juicy sweatsuit, like fix that so you can go to the party that afternoon. You know, like fix that and get it over with. But once you're older, like if someone has ideas or opinions that totally differ from yours, you deserve your peace. And like, I'm all for boundaries. And if somebody in your family is an asshole, cut them off. You don't have to talk to them. When Thanksgiving comes around, just pass them a plate. You don't have to like kumbaya with people that you don't want in your life.
Yeah, it's very, very real. And something I've had to work through and realize about something similar is like, how much resentment or pain or anger do I want to harbor when like there's so much talk about, you know, this is a person who's struggling or this is a projection. It doesn't have anything to do with you. And I call it my like Mother Teresa energy, where I'll call my friend and be like, you know what? I'm feeling very like, it's fine. It didn't bother me. And like, I can pass the plate and like, you know, whatever. And then I get in days where I feel the anger and it's like, it's such a back and forth, but I want to be the person that is like, I can have love for my enemies or for people who wronged me. In theory, but it's also really hard. But I sometimes find if I'm holding the anger, that then occupies space in my mind.
You have water sign placements for sure. There's something.
What does that mean?
Some type of empathy. You have empathy.
You're my reader. Who's your medium?
I'm gonna have like a crystal ball. I'm Miss Cleo. I too have that. I was a people pleaser when I was a kid, and I was also bullied relentlessly. So I think that like played hand in hand, where I was just like, I just wanted people to like me so that they wouldn't pick on me and they wouldn't be mean to me. And then I grew up and I was like, wait, no, like I don't, whatever. Like if you like me, great. If you don't, even better. Stay out of my way.
Yeah.
Just move along. And now I'm at the place where I'm like, you don't have to wish everybody the best. Like you don't have to. Wish them what they deserve. Hello. When I broke up with my ex, you think I said, oh, I wish you all the best? I wish you what you deserve. The life you deserve is what you should get.
And that's, you know what, that is kind of like, that is a really impartial, like you're not saying it's bad things. You're saying, I wish the world brings you what you attract.
Exactly.
Which is based on you, not
better.
me.
If you want better, be better.
Yeah.
But if not, stay the same.
Yeah. Gosh, people, relationships, therapy. There's so much. But that stuff, I live for it. I don't like to be in conflict. I don't like to have issues, but like, I do think that's when we really are tested. That's when we really grow. It's really hard for me to be around people who ignore problems and like don't work on themselves. And that's something that's been really hard for me. And it's like, I also have to acknowledge my flaw in that is the projection of like, well, I'm doing all this work and I'm growing so much. It's both a negative and a positive. Like you should do it too. Otherwise, we're not like equally giving here. But then the other side of it is like me thinking I know best of this has worked really good for me, so it must work really good for you. But everyone goes at their different paces. But I'm also a people pleaser and I'm kind of a control freak.
I understand. As a type A person myself, I get it. But I think... yeah, I get in the same place too, where I'm like, why aren't we all striving to be better people every single day? Like, why are we not all if we have the same access to the same resources, not to say everybody does, but like, you know, people in your life or your family that do, and they're not taking advantage of those things.
Right.
I cannot stand listening to someone complain about the same thing over and over again and have zero intention of like making it better or trying to fix it.
Right.
Because I'm a person who, if I don't like something, I'm going to change it. I'm going to fix it. If I don't like the way that I'm feeling about something, I'm like, what can I do? What book can I read? What podcast can I listen to? What deep dive on TikTok can I sift through, 50 scrolls?
Yeah.
And hopefully doom scrolling on my phone before bed at 3 a.m. will be one of those things that I want to fix. But for now, it's not.
And sometimes people need it. My husband, Max, he does that. And like, I know for him, that's his brain turning off. Like he needs it to decompress. So what works for one person doesn't work for another. One more thing I wanted to ask you, as the oldest of 5, the big sis, firstborn, do you feel this pressure that like you're taking care of all your younger siblings and like you always have to be the one leading by example? Do you have moments where you can like be taken care of and coddled by siblings or family? Or
honestly, I will say I have one of my sisters, Victoria. She's
great name.
She's
what a sexy name.
The best
she
name.
Must be stunning.
She is. We're 7 years apart. She has always been the one to like, when my friends and I would come home like from a drunken night or something, she would come in the room and we'd debrief about like boys or whatever was happening. And she always gave the best advice for someone who's never been in a relationship. Like she just knows, like she just is like a very wise person. So if I'm feeling something, I can definitely go to her. I have my sisters and I, we talk all the time, but like, I'm definitely, for my friends and my sisters, the person that people come to. I think for the first time in my life, feeling like I can just like be a baby with someone is with my boyfriend. And it's the best experience, hands down. I'm like soft life energy, like soft girl era. Sign me up. It's the best. And so that's like my place to land and like be my most vulnerable self. I do with my sisters and my cousin. One of my cousins is like where we can tell each other exactly how we're feeling with like no filter, and we don't have to worry about the other person being like, oh, well, if you're thinking about that, then you must be.
There's no judgment.
No judgment.
It's like, okay,
yeah,
where do we bury the body?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's just keep moving.
Exactly. I've got gloves. Like, what else do we need?
No, the way I have friends where their faces would be so unfazed, like with the craziness thing I could maybe say.
Yes.
I love that. And I heard you say on Relationship recently that you're, quote, madly in love.
Madly in love.
So I'm very happy for you.
Oh, no, that's my man.
You deserve that.
Thank you.
Thank you, world, for giving Kamie what she deserves. Thank you, babe, for coming on Real Pod. It was a joy.
Of course. Thank you.
Amazing. Yay.